Hello and welcome to another update video about Bitcoin. Yeah, so let's take a look first of all at the weekly chart. Sometimes it's good to refresh our views about where we come from, where we're going, especially as on the hourly there isn't too much movement. So yeah, my view remains here that Bitcoin created here is currently creating its third 1-2 setup on the chart. So we had back here a wave 1 to the upside, that was 2017 bull run, then bear market into 2018-19, and we have another 1-2 setup, yeah, within this higher degree wave 3 then, because if this was a 1-2, you would expect a wave 3 afterwards, and within that wave 3 we had here a 1-2 setup, and then here within this wave 3, which is happening right now, we have another 1-2 setup. That is how you would look at this from an Elliott Wave point of view. When using the linear chart, when you use the log chart, you come to a different conclusion. I don't tend to use the log charts very much. They, in my opinion, distort wave relationships. But as you might know, there are different opinions about that among Elliott Wave analysts. But yeah, this is my view, and this would set up Bitcoin for a very bullish third wave to the upside, because if this is a wave 1, and this here currently is a wave 2, consisting of an A wave, an overshooting wave B, and a C wave in a so-called expanded flat, then we are looking at a possible rocket start in a wave 3. So that would be very interesting. I did talk about this rocket start already sort of in March and said when we reach my target, then we can expect ideally a rocket start if the next wave is indeed a third wave. Now, we haven't seen a rocket start yet, but the reason for that is probably because the correction is just not finished, okay? The correction is not finished. We did reach my target. That was below 29K. We reached that for the first time, I think, in May. But in May, we then talked about we'll probably get to one more low because of the wave structure that evolved after this low. We then came down in June, and then after a while I said, probably we'll get another low. It looked quite promising already after June. Yeah, we created 5 wave movements to the upside, which indicate the trend is changing. But then the test, and you always get a test after such a 5 wave move to the upside, the move down, yeah, did destroy that previous low basically, yeah. So we came lower, and that in the end was the primary expectation as well. So we did follow the primary count. We always have to adjust to latest price developments. And now my view is still that we get one more low. We don't have to, but we also take a look at what does Bitcoin need to do for me to confirm that a bottom has been made. But what you need to know is that in this correction here, in this wave 2 correction, Bitcoin has done what it needs to do. It doesn't need to go lower. Yeah, it doesn't need to. It of course can, and I think it will, for several reasons that I explain from time to time. Like, for example, the situation that we haven't really created an impulsive move to the upside down here, and also that, for example, historically, but that sort of doesn't have anything to do with the Elliott waves. Historically, when you look at recessions, markets have never recovered before a recession started. Yeah, they have always recovered from within a recession, or rarely after a recession ended. But usually, markets start to recover within a recession. Now, this is mainly looking at the stock market because we don't really have that long price history for crypto, but I would argue it probably is to a degree aligned. What we don't really know is when the recession officially starts, because there are obviously different opinions between business leaders and politicians, and often recessions are announced backward looking, so you would know that a recession started actually weeks or months after it actually started. So that's the difficult element here. But also historically, after the Fed pivoted, historically, we usually see, or pivots, we usually see another significant drop in prices in the stock market, and that may as well have an effect on crypto. And also the wave structure would suggest one more low for Bitcoin. But as I said, it doesn't need to do this. It doesn't need to do this. So let's take a look at the indicators as well. Always find that quite interesting. We can see that I think even if we see one more low, which I think we will, we are, in my opinion, not too far away from the low. So my ideal target would be around the 14 to 14.5K area. And also here on the 2-week RSI, we can see that we're nearly creating a bullish crossover. We are not there yet, but we are nearly there. So that will be an interesting signal here. Okay, but let's take a look at the daily chart. We're gonna go in, zoom in to the price detail. And here we don't see too much change, right? We don't see too much change. So from the long-term outlook, you should understand that we are in a long-term uptrend. At least on the weekly, we're actually in an uptrend because we're putting this 1-2 setup in. On the daily, we are of course in a downtrend. On the 4-hour chart here, you could argue we are in an uptrend, or at least on the 1-hour chart, because we're putting higher highs in place currently and higher lows. And we can identify 5-wave moves to the upside here. And that is in Elliott Wave, an important indication that the trend has shifted to the upside, even if it's just short term. It's important to understand the context here. And it's important to understand that generally I would expect one more low. But that short-term upside is absolutely possible in this higher degree pattern A, B, C within the wave 4, which would eventually, in this ending diagonal pattern here, put another low in place in a wave 5. That is unchanged from previous videos. We've been talking about that for many weeks. And that's still what I'm waiting for. But that doesn't change the situation that short-term potential is very real until we break below certain support levels, yeah? So the wave structure currently suggests further upside, which would be invalidated if we break below certain levels. So the waves suggest that we are moving up here in a 5-wave structure. Wave 1 already done, wave 2 done, and we are now in this 3rd wave. There should be a 4th and a 5th, taking us into the region maybe 19 to 20K. Within this 3rd wave, we've got a 5-wave structure up, 3 waves down. So-called 1-2 setup. Based on that assumption, we would be now in the wave 3 of 3. This wave 3 has subwaves as well. So if I zoom in, you see the subwaves here. And if I go to the 1-hour chart, we see a bit more detail. So, and we can see that we moved up in 5 waves. That was here from the low at around 16,700 to 17,370 on Friday. We then moved down, in my opinion, in an A wave of a wave 2. We moved up yesterday in a B wave of wave 2. And we could be coming down now in the C wave. Now the move up hasn't been very impulsive, and therefore it's only, in my opinion, a 3-wave move at the moment. And if you look at this entire sideways movement, it could very well be that we come down once more in a C wave of wave 2. That would be ideal. However, if we break above 17,350 earlier than expected, then we have to expect that wave 2 was already in, probably already here, where I've got the wave A low, because this can be counted as an ABC structure down as well. It's just a bit too short, and therefore my primary assumption has to be that we come down once more lower into this support area, also because the wave B to the upside was very corrective. The ideal target for the wave 2 is between 18,870 and 17,050 in this support area. It's really only if we drop below the yellow box, that the upside potential will get seriously challenged and may not work out as intended. So no problem if we go down short term. It would actually be what I would like to see, what I would expect before we go up in a 3rd wave. Because it would be, the idea would be we get into this area in a C wave, before we reverse to the upside in this 3rd wave I showed you. Can give you an ideal target as well, and that would be the length of the A wave. If we assume wave C and wave 1 have the same length, which they often have, then the ideal target would be 16,940. And from this area then, we could look at the wave 3 to the upside here into the 19K region. No, 1 second, the yellow wave 3 wouldn't take us into the 19K region. The yellow wave 3 would take us roughly, it depends a bit on how low we go here, but it would take us roughly into the 17,850 region. Okay, so actually down here somewhere. But it depends a little bit on how low do we actually go. But that is my view about Bitcoin, which means short term, very short term, we could go down into the yellow support area. However, if we break above 17,350, for me that's a confirmed breakout, and we are most likely already in the 3rd wave. And overall, the upside potential here short term is still there, as long as we're holding the yellow support area. Bear in mind also when we drop below the channel here, this will probably already be an indication that we are coming down, and it depends, it could mean the yellow support area isn't going to hold because we've got various touch points on this channel support. If that breaks, it's generally not a good sign. Okay, and that's my update about Bitcoin. I hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.